a Pike County deputy, Joel Jenkins. So Joel Jenkins is facing involuntarily manslaughter charges after a late-night gun accident. Pike County Sheriff Charles S. Reeder said that Deputy Joel Jenkins, who has been with the Sheriff's Office at least 4 years and is its dog handler, called the Sheriff's Office administrative line just after 11:30 p.m., said someone's been shot. Jason Brady, 40 years old, died of a gunshot to the head inside of Jenkins' home in the 500 block of East 7th Street. Reader said on the 911 call, Jenkins says, "There's been an accidental discharge at my house. My neighbor, he's down. You guys are going to have to get here ASAP." The gun was not his service weapon. No word on whether alcohol played a part, but Jenkins had been on leave earlier this year. After being involved in a fatal shooting of a man who led police on a chase after refusing to stop for a traffic citation. So, Joel Jenkins, again, this son of a bitch apparently killed some motherfucker because of traffic citation. So, for over a traffic citation, somebody's dead, and now his fucking neighbor is dead. An accidental shooting, accidentally shot him in the fucking head, and it wasn't his service weapon. What the fuck? This guy just can't stop shooting people. And how is he free? I mean, he killed somebody before. Oh, that's right. He's a cop. He's got a badge. So I guess you get one, right? You're allowed to kill one person scot-free, but now he's killed two, so he's been arrested. And, you know, they set the example. The government is the potent, omnipresent teacher. For good or ill, they teach us by their example. They teach us. They're solving their problem. This had happened on December 4th, 2015, Friday, so it's actually 5 days old, so it's an old story, by Jen Hayden, dailycoast.com. But Pike County deputy, involuntary so they're not even charging him with murder, involuntary. You know, I dropped the gun and the trigger just went off and it shot him right in the head. This is totally an accident. Yeah, he already killed a motherfucker. Now he killed somebody else. That officer-involved shooting in March greatly affected everyone involved, including Deputy Jenkins, Reader said. Deputy Jenkins knew the grand jury was meeting next Thursday. I don't know what his state of mind was last night, but that will all be a part of the investigation. He fucked himself. He just fucked himself. I have no idea. Maybe the neighbor is going to tell him. You know, my ear just popped. I wonder if that's CIA mind control. So this Joel Jenkins, I don't know what he got fired, right? This one, the second one, he got fired. The first one, like, he got a free pass. Not only did he get a free pass, but he was on the suspended leave, paid leave, a fucking paid vacation. So while just hanging out on a paid vacation, shoots his neighbor in the head. He entered a crowded courtroom, almost 20 people there, Monday, December 7th, for his arraignment. And this is Pike County. What, are we in Ohio? Where is this? Emotions are running high, right? So everyone, please remain respectful. Bulger and Jenkins waived hearing and explanation of rights and explanation of charges. Acknowledged Jenkins was served with a complaint stating that Jenkins did unlawfully cause the death of another as proximate result of the offenders committing or attempted to commit a misdemeanor of any degree using weapons while intoxicated, and a misdemeanor of the first degree. And a misdemeanor, just had to tack on, and a misdemeanor. So they're charging with intoxication, so he possibly could have been drunk, right? I don't know, is that temporary insanity? Could he try to get away with this? I don't. This motherfucker, he's suicidal or just stupid, or maybe he was a serial killer. Maybe he was like Dexter but didn't have a code. Because the manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter, is a felony of third degree. He's also 31 years old, and he's of Waverly. I think this is Ohio. I'm going to assume it's Ohio. So Waverly, Ohio. That night, Pike County Sheriff Charles Reeder reported that Jenkins had called his office to report an accidental shooting that happened at his residence. 40-year-old Jason Brady of Waverly lost his life. So our 31-year-old Joel Jenkins kills Jason Brady, 40 years old. I've been in Kenton County for Tiny at the courthouse for the library book. I had to go to Kenton County Courthouse because of an overdue fucking library book. And while I was there was a guy for drug charges, heroin or something, and he asked to 10% it, which was 10% of the bond. And he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. This guy got a $100,000 bond, and they 10%ed it, so he only has to put up $10,000, and then he's free. 2 fucking dead bodies on his hand, and he's allowed to be free. And then they said, but he's got to stay alcohol and drug-free and be subject to random drug and alcohol testing. Whoa! Oh, the judge is getting fucking crazy there. Price. This Judge Price. It was like, that's not reasonable. That's insane. The assistant prosecutor, Anthony Morgiel, assistant prosecutor said that it was reasonable for a felony with violence. This incident involved not just a death, but 10% and $10,000, that's not much. That one lady killed her kid or whatever, had $1 million bond. $1 million bond, this motherfucker gets a $10,000 bond. And then they go on and they say, oh, he's a minimal flight risk and please reconsider. So they're asking for it to be even less. My understanding is that he has been a resident of Pike County for 2.5 years, 2.5 whole years. Worked in law enforcement for 8 years, worked for the Sheriff's Department of Fayette County and also in corrections, has an 18-month-old child who resides in the county, is actively involved in the child's upbringing. Though this is a serious offense, the underlying criminal conduct is of a misdemeanor nature. What the fuck? He killed a fucking guy, you know? He shot his fucking brains out. And he was like, well, still, so 10%, because of his law enforcement background. The publicity generated in this particular case, he is a known figure at this particular place and in his present place of confinement in Franklin County. And I think this increases the possibility of violent incidents occurring where he is, said Bolger, I think this is his attorney. I understand he's a well-known person in Scioto County as well because of his work as a law enforcement officer. Although I haven't spoken to members of the family, I think the 10% provision, while we appreciate it, may be out of reach. So, you know, because he's, you know, beat the shit out of other people and probably wrongly arrested them. Oh, he might get his ass kicked while he's in fucking jail. Good. And then they said they wanted to get the reduction amount. The judge says, no, right, 10%, get the fuck out of here. And they said you can request it later. And then he hasn't even entered a plea because the grand jury has to indict him. It's a third-degree felony, and the preliminary hearing was originally set for Wednesday, December 9th, but has been changed. So this guy was on paid administrative leave, right? So he was getting paid to not do a damn thing. They're bitching about whether or not, you know, the 10%, $10,000 bond is, you know, good enough or not. The preliminary hearing was set for today, but then the date was changed, and then nobody's ever told. This motherfucker, he actually probably should be running at this point. If he's still free, no, he didn't get the 10%. Or if he gets $10,000, if he can get the $10,000 bond and he's able to be free, he's fucked. He's killed 2 fucking people, right? He might have been able to get away with one. I'm a cop. I was doing my job. I was so scared. I didn't know what was going on. Then they said that he was drunk. He was drinking an intoxicating beverage. What the fuck does that mean, an intoxicating beverage? He was drunk. He was drinking beer, an intoxicating beverage. Just a weird way to say that. And I haven't even talked about the previous crime. So some details about the previous crime, and this is Waverly again. This is Chillicothe Gazette, Chillicothe, which was the old Shawnee villages. They called it Chillicothe, their home base, their home village. By Caitlin Turner. A March 28th high-speed chase that turned deadly in Pike County started after a driver sped away from a part-time deputy. He noticed him going 52 miles per hour in a 45-mile-per-hour zone. Oh, he's going 52 in a 45, so we better go fuck up his entire life, right? And he does. Eventually he's going to kill him, right? He's going to fucking kill him. And he was only going 7 miles over the speed limit. 52. You know, 45. Like, you can go 55, 70. The report obtained by the State Attorney General's Office through a public records request shows deputies feared for public safety and pursued 26-year-old Robert C. Rooker over numerous roads until the vehicle Rooker. Deputies and one major were involved in the pursuit of Rooker. County Prosecutor Rob Junk told the Gazette Rooker was fatally shot by deputies following the 10 to 15-minute pursuit and previously said the shooting appeared to be justified. It looked like it was justified. He was going 7 miles and over, right? I mean, 7 miles over the speed limit. The report given to the Gazette does not contain the statements of the 2 deputies who had The agency-issued guns taken into evidence. Major Tim Dickerson and Deputy Joel Jenkins, the Attorney General's office, said the statements were part of the continuing investigation of the case, which is an exemption under state's public records laws. A check of personnel files on both men found no disciplinary action. So apparently, you report your fucking case, they're going to bury it. If you're a state worker, if you're a cop, you're allowed to murder fucking people, and that's okay. This is back in March. They didn't give a shit. Now that he's killed 2 people, he's kind of really said that Jenkins was going to be put back on light duty. The Henderson was already back on light duty. Jenkins had a Glock 22. And he's like, none of this wants something like this to happen, but we know in law enforcement it can happen. According to the official incident report, Special Deputy Paul Henderson, the sheriff's brother who serves as a volunteer deputy and works just 16 hours a month, saw a black Ford Ranger pickup truck traveling eastbound on Ohio 124 just southeast of Idaho around 11 p.m. March 28th. When Henderson activated his radar gun, it clocked a speed of 52 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour zone. He was a criminal. He's a lawbreaker. If you don't want to do the time, don't do the crime. He sped 7 miles and he broke the law. He broke the law, right? Isn't that what you fuckers always say? I noticed as the Ranger passed in front of me, as the motor accelerated, the truck. There gets to be more details, but it's hard to tell what's going on because they write in such, bullshit speak. But they're sitting there saying that they were following him, and then he starts running, and he's like so dangerous, trying to run head on, straight into the traffic, straight into the cops, straight into this, straight into everybody else. And then at the end it says eventually, and Henderson said Rooker's vehicle went partially off the roadway, and then he saw Jenkins' cruiser was against the front end of the Rangers. Henderson said he exited his cruiser. He saw Jenkins with his service weapon pointed towards the subject's vehicle, and he saw Jenkins with his hands in his face. So I don't know how that makes sense, but he was seriously affected by what had happened. So I don't know if he hit the car to stop it and then shoot or what just happened, but guy's dead, right? Long story short, dude's dead now. The article was written April 25th, and they said that they'd asked for the report on March 30th. So, it took them 2 months to write up the report and then give it to the media. So without the media actually asking for the report, it seems like they would have never got it. The Gazette made public records requests of the Pike County Sheriff and prosecutor, as well as Attorney General Mike DeWine, for the initial report on the chase and the eventual death of Robert Rooker. The prosecutor responded April 10th and said his office had no documentation on the incident, while the sheriff sent a redacted report. April 15th, the Attorney General's office on April 16th sent a 6-page report that detailed the chase and subsequent shooting. So, eventually they got around to giving the report or writing it, a month later. I don't trust any of their fucking words on any of this shit. This guy's cold-blooded murder, shot the neighbor right in the fucking head, about to go before the grand jury, hasn't even got this case. So the way that they said this, I just have to read this, okay? So this is Sheriff Reader. He goes, I believe it is clear Deputy Jenkins, still giving him respect. Deputy Jenkins, he's on paid leave, been sitting at home getting paid on the taxpayer dime, not doing shit. This is December, so he's been getting paid for fucking 9 months. 9 months getting paid to sit around. He don't know what to fucking do with himself if he ain't going around harassing and killing people. He don't know what else to do. So he doesn't know how to, just have a good time. But it says he had a firearm and consumed some intoxicating beverage, and that's why the charge is what it is. We are alleging Deputy Jenkins was using a weapon while intoxicated, announced Pike County Prosecutor Rob Junk. When someone does that and causes a death, that's a felony. It's a felony when you're drunk and you kill somebody. It's a felony when you murder somebody, whether you're drunk or not. You're saying it all fucking. So they're still coddling this guy, Jenkins. But his dad, at the courtroom, his father was there. Jason Brady's father, 40-year-old R.I.P. Jason Brady. His father was there, and he was like, look at me. And he wouldn't look at him, and then one of his fucking, we love you, Joe. We love you, even though you're a murdering piece of shit. He's a murderer. He's a fucking murderer. Eye for an eye. This guy should get the death penalty. He should get the death penalty. 40-year-old Jason Brady died from a bullet wound to the head. Jason Brady is a single parent raising a teenage son and a friend to everybody he met. So why do you have to die? Well, yeah, they probably got in some argument, and Joel Jenkins just fucking murdered him. Just killed him just for the fuck of it. Just for the fuck of it.